Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, she is an expert in business etiquette and communications. She'll share her incredible journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
So I'm seeing these articles all over the place about how large companies, small companies, mid-sized companies are bringing in etiquette experts to teach their young employees how to communicate. Let's be honest, I'm a baby boomer, so I'm a talking generation, and Gen Z is a texting generation. And so some of the basic soft skills that you need to be successful in life, it's not being taught in colleges. Sometimes the parents are not teaching these things. And so that's when you bring in a guest like my next guest, Julie Jones. She's with Today's Professionals Consulting and Development. Thanks for coming on the show.
Jeff, thanks for having me. This is wonderful.
Well, thank you. And I can't wait to hear your journey, because it wasn't like you just woke up one morning and said, I'm going to become an etiquette expert. How did this happen?
Well, I was a teacher.
Okay.
I taught middle school students. And we were in professional development. This was back in 2011. And it was at the beginning of the year, and our principal said, we're hearing from the business community that our students are not ready when they come out of college and high school. So we're going to add something to what we're already doing so that we can address these issues. And, honestly, we were excited about coming back, but then it was like, what else can we do? Because teachers, as we all know, they're overworked and underpaid. God bless our teachers. And so I started doing research, and I said, what is it that we're missing? Why is it that they're not ready? And I found out that companies were hiring etiquette consultants to come in and work with their team members on how to navigate the professional setting. And I said, this is something I can do. I love this. And so I became a certified etiquette consultant and opened my business, and I have not looked back.
Wow. I'm so impressed with your business. We're going to scroll down your website. What does a great client look like for you, Julie? Is it, what size company? Does it matter?
I work a lot with large corporations who hire interns and people that are right out of college, and people who are managing people who are right out of college, because there's kind of a disconnect in the generations. And I think we're seeing a decline before COVID, but now that COVID, we had to go through COVID and we were all isolated, the interaction and the face-to-face communications is something that's difficult for people. And it's how do we come back to the office and how do we dress? Because we're used to wearing our jammies.
Sure, yes.
And so how do we dress professionally, and what does that look like? And I heard a saying the other day, and I told the man who said this, I said, I'm going to start using this. So I have permission to use this. But we talk about artificial intelligence, AI, going to take over the world, right? And we're all afraid of it. But what if AI stood for actual interaction? Like, that's really where it's at. And artificial intelligence is not going to take that away from us.
No, you're so right. Let's talk about your favorite story. Like, what's one of your favorite success stories?
Well, it was years ago, and it doesn't have to do with companies, but it's near and dear to my heart because it has to do with students. So I was invited to work with a leadership program in a high school several years ago. And when I got there, the athletic director had invited 100 football players from freshmen to seniors to participate in this, because he said he had some seniors who were going to colleges and for scouting, and he wanted them to know how to show up. And so we had all the football players in the back, and we had the leadership students up at the front. There were about 30 of them, and we went through my little image class, and this was probably in January or February. And then at the end of the year in May, I got a phone call from the lady who ran the program. And she said, I want you to know that what you do changes lives. She said, what we didn't know is that sitting in that front row with those leadership students was a little girl who had a scholarship interview for college, and it was coming up in the coming weeks. After going through this class, she rethought what she was going to wear. She practiced entering the room. So she entered the room. She knew how to introduce and shake hands with every panelist, and she sat and she knew how to talk to them. Wow. And she said she got the scholarship. And the reason that she said she got the scholarship was because of my class. And that, to me, I mean, I still get chills just talking about that.
That had to feel so good.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Changing people's lives.
You're also a very popular guest on different podcasts. We've got some video of a podcast. My sense is that you love to educate people, don't you?
Yes. Oh, yeah. So I'm a teacher. And that's, I was born to teach. And so I love to educate. I love to encourage. I'm the CEO of Today's Professionals, but I call it the Chief Encouragement Officer, not the Chief Executive Officer, because my spiritual gift is to be that of an encourager and to let people know that you do belong in every room. You belong on this earth. You were created for a purpose. You may not have been planned. Your parents might not have planned you, but you are not a mistake.
Right.
And so that's what my mission in life.
What are some common do's and don'ts inside the workplace? What are you seeing most often?
Well, most often when I work with companies and they're wanting me to come work with their young people, it's that they don't really understand that they are hired to represent the brand.
Yes.
And they are hired to do a job and to contribute. So they will come in and they will not dress appropriately sometimes, being late to work. I mean, that's something I'm hearing all the time when people call me and say, can you come work with us? Is that we have people, our start time is 9 and they're showing up at 9:30,
yes.
And it's like no big deal, and then it's that they have a task and they'll do the task and then they don't ask for what else that they can do and they just they're done. It's like, well, I did my job,
yes.
But it's really more about that. It's like, what else? And so, my mission, my message to them is if you really want to be successful, if you really want to have that nice house and to drive those nice cars and to do things, you have to do more than what's expected early on. Because if you do all the work now, then as you go, doors open up. And later on, you don't have to work as hard. But what you'll be doing is training a team to help you do your job. Yes. And so it's really about the work ethic, the mindset.
Well, I love it. You connect it with their why, because some Gen Zs they just want a lifestyle. So they want a 9 to 5 and then they just forget about work. But you're appealing to that Gen Z who has ambition and really wants to, like you said, have the big house and the car and the plane one day.
Don't we all want that? I mean, we all want that nice house and that nice car. But it requires work.
Yes. Yes. She is prolific when it comes to blogging. We pulled up her blog page, and I want you to scroll down and talk about some of the topics that you like to take on when you do your blogs.
Well, I do a lot of here's where I've been speaking. This is what I've been doing, and so that people can see that I do get out and talk and speak. But I also like to talk. My blog is really geared toward the managers and the companies about business etiquette, and that there are training programs out there to work with their new hires. So it does revolve around etiquette, people skills. There's research out there, and because what I do is scientific. I mean, it's research based, and that is 85% of your success comes from your ability to connect with others. Wow. And so in schools, we spend all the time getting the grades. And let's take an attorney, for instance. You go to high school and college and you take all the government and law and you really study hard to get the grades and so that you can pass the LSAT. And then you've got to pass the bar, get a job and pass the bar and all of that. And then you get a job at your dream law firm, and after about 3 years, somebody goes, you're doing a great job. Go out and build a book of business so that you can start you get on partner track.
Right.
And they're like, I don't know, because they've spent 20 plus years working on learning the law and learning how to be in court and how to prepare the cases and how to help their partners really win their cases. And so now we have to do that. So how do you do that?
Yes.
It's a skill set.
Julie, I'm so impressed with you. We have about a minute left, so
Went so fast.
It does go fast. Final thoughts. What would you like to leave people with?
I think the thing, 100 years ago, almost 100 years ago, Dale Carnegie wrote a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it's all about just putting others first. It's about etiquette. A lot of people will say, is etiquette out old-fashioned? It might be old-fashioned, but it's still really relevant. And those practices from 100 years ago plus,
Yes.
It's really about how you show up, and that's what's most important.
Wow, I'm so impressed with you. I could talk to you for hours.
Thank you.
Let's leave you with her website, which is todaysprofessionals.com. The great Julie Jones. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff. It's been so fun.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.